afternoon, everybody. Thank you so much. My name is Katherine Johnson, and I'm the owner of Silk Thermal Imaging. Real quick background. Prior to launching my practice in 2009, I spent 18 years in biotech research. And when I was invited to come into this industry, the first thing I did was research. And what I learned during that period of time was that there was a lot of information out there that doctors aren't telling us. And even having been in research for all those years, there was a lot of stuff I didn't know. And if I didn't know it, that meant that the average person out there didn't know it. So I took all my research, put together a PowerPoint presentation, and now I go into corporations and also conduct private seminars trying to educate people on prevention as opposed to waiting to detect disease. So having said all that, my presentation is research-based information. It is not speculation or personal opinion. I want to start by just sharing a little bit about the health industry. Last year, we spent over $3 trillion on healthcare. And in spite of spending all that money as a nation, we are sicker today than we've ever been before. In spite of spending all that money, we see more cancer, more heart disease, more diabetes. And the thing is that most of these diseases that we're seeing are largely preventable. But unfortunately, mainstream medicine is eager to treat rather than to educate people on prevention. So why? Why are we focusing on treatment of disease as opposed to prevention? Well, that's easy. It's because when we're sick, pharmaceutical companies are making money. When we're healthy, they're not. Disease is a huge industry in this country. Lung cancer, for example, $180 billion a year. Pain, $60 billion a year. Cancer, $200 billion a year. Breast cancer alone is a $17 billion a year industry. Mammography and biopsy alone, $17 billion. So it's a very, very profitable industry, which is very unfortunate. What is interesting is that in the United States, our population, we make up 5% of the world population. However, we consume 50% of the pharmaceutical drugs in the world. So what does that tell you? That unfortunately, mainstream medicine, we have legalized pill pushers, is basically what we're dealing with in this country. So this is an interesting fact that I really like to share with people because I think people don't know it. This year, over 200,000 people are going to be diagnosed with lung cancer. This cancer kills more people than any other cancer. Okay, more women die from lung cancer than breast, uterine, and ovarian cancers combined. Now let me ask you something, ladies. Has your doctor ever asked you to go and have a lung cancer screening? No. But do they get a mammogram down your throat?
Yes.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So what does it mean? What does all this mean? Well, it means that early detection and prevention is absolutely critical. This is where we need to be focusing rather than waiting on detecting disease. So people ask, why are so many more people getting sick today? And a few people have actually talked on this today. Our environment is huge. Environmental factors are making us sick. There was a study done back in 2008 on the connection between cancer and the environment. And there is a tremendous amount of evidence out there indicating that our exposure to common chemicals, now when I talk about common chemicals, I'm talking about what's right under our kitchen sink that we're cleaning our homes with. Things that we're putting on our bodies, on our hair, makeup. The makeup industry has no regulatory agency overseeing that industry. And so they can put anything they want into these products, and they are. They're putting very, very cheap and dangerous toxins as preservatives. One of the big things that we hear a lot about now is chronic inflammation. There was a write-up in Time magazine, and they called it the silent killer, because you cannot feel it in the body. You don't know that your body is experiencing this. So people say, well, okay, we know all this now, so now what? How do we detect this stuff? How do we know what's going on in our bodies? Well, and again, a lady touched on it earlier, thermography. This is what I do. So few people know that this technology even exists, okay? And you use it for breast cancer detection. We use it for full body scanning. We are able to detect disease in the body, inflammation, neuropathy, all different types of issues in the body. So what we do is we use extremely sensitive infrared cameras that are specifically designed for the human body. We use these in conjunction with computer software programs that allow us to see minute temperature variations in the body. These are the first signs that something is going on, that there are changes occurring at the physiological level. It is 100% safe. There is no radiation or anything being emitted into the body. What it's doing is it's reading what's coming off the body, which are temperature variations. Because again, these temperature variations are the earliest signs that something is changing. So what are the benefits? It's painless, no radiation, there's no bodily contact. We can detect breast cancer 8 to 10 years before a mammogram. Okay, we can see diabetes 10 years before somebody's going to have any symptoms. The list goes on and on and on with what we're able to see with thermography. And again, it's very, very safe. So what's the goal? Well, the ultimate goal here is to be able to identify that there is inflammation in the body, because ultimately inflammation can lead to disease. So if we can catch these things early, we can prevent disease. This gives us an opportunity to implement a natural approach, a holistic approach, rather than, again, waiting for the modalities that we use today, all of which detect disease. You know, our goal is to identify these precursors to disease, identify them naturally, and reverse them naturally. So what I do is I go into corporations and I do lunch and learn seminars. I bring in lunch. I do men's wellness seminars, and I also do women's wellness seminars. So this is my goal as I move forward in my business, is to continue to educate people on focusing on prevention of disease rather than waiting for, mainstream medicine to detect it so that they can treat it. Thank you so much.